everybody can be an organizer, not everyone can be a business owner, right? So you really have to listen to what your clients are saying and really be like, where can I position myself strategically while still being me to make it easy to be successful. Like I am like gobsmacked, and every time I think about it, I want to cry. To think about that, I took this chance at my job.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Medeiros.
And I'm Colleen Hungerford. And this is We're Doing This Right, right? A podcast for the whole woman, mind, body, soul, and business.
It's humor infused, as real as it gets, inspiring, and you'll walk away with real usable tools for life and business.
If you love what you're hearing, please share with a friend, subscribe so you'll never miss an episode, and rate and review whenever you listen.
So find your earbuds, lace up your walking shoes, or cozy up with a beverage of your choice. It's time to dig in. Colleen, I did it right this morning. I did it so right, my friend.
Yeah,
I was the calmest mother to a 5-year-old that didn't want to go to school, didn't want to wear any shoes, didn't want anything. There was nothing she wanted except my womb. And I was so calm and cool and collected. And so I'm sure there will be a trophy arriving for me at some point today.
I sent you one. It's coming.
Okay, excellent. Great. Really appreciate that. So how are you doing? Did you do it right today so far?
Yeah, so
Colleen, I did it right this morning. I did it so right, my friend.
Yeah,
I was the calmest mother to a 5-year-old that didn't want to go to school, didn't want to wear any shoes, didn't want anything. There was nothing she wanted except my womb. And I was so calm and cool and collected. And so I'm sure there will be a trophy arriving for me at some point today.
I sent you one. It's coming.
Okay, excellent. Great. Really appreciate that. So how are you doing? Did you do it right today so far?
Yeah, so on the way to school, my youngest, Jackson, forgot his library book. He was really rushing around this morning and got his library book, and then he forgot it, and it was so cute. He was like, "Mommy, do you have a meeting first thing this morning, or can you please go back and get my library book?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I'll get your library book." Like,
Angel.
It was so sweet. And, there's that thought where you're like, well, no, they need to learn responsibility. And I was like, well, first of all, he's 6. So like everybody out. And second of all, I also didn't want him to feel stressed out during the day. And I had the time and opportunity to do that. And I also, and this is me feeling like I have to justify it, but I also felt like I wanted him to be able to rely on me for those things. So I was having these like weird mixed feelings about like, enabling him, but he's 6. And so it was like, I just brought it in and I was like, it was fine. So
it takes a village. It takes a village at 6, and it takes a village at 38, and it takes a village at 65. Yeah. You're his village. You're his people. Yeah.
So it's so cute how he asked me. Anyway, we have a lovely guest here who we want to include in our conversation. So
Lady has been so patiently waiting for us to shut the front door.
No, I am living for this conversation. I'm like, yeah, that's a really good point. I'm going to write that down.
Oh my God.
Well, Leydi Roffman is here. Leydi is a professional organizer and home design consultant based in New Jersey and New York City, who dives deep into the root causes of clutter and delivers practical, actionable solutions. Oh, girl, you're speaking my language. After a 20-year career in higher education administration, so you do know about these kids, she now helps higher education. That's not elementary school. That's the grown-up children.
They're still kids. They're
the grown-up children. I talked to a grown-up child for 2 hours last night. After a 20-year career in higher education administration, she now helps busy families transform chaos into calm. Outside of organizing, Leydi enjoys family time with her husband and 2 boys and is always planning their next big adventure. Welcome, Leydi. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I don't look it in the video, but I am so freaking excited.
So happy to have you here. Leydi is a acquaintance or friend of Susie Adamson. So any friend of Susie is a friend of ours.
Yeah, I love Susie. She is the best. I miss her in Jersey, where she is living the life over in Pennsylvania. Yeah. I love all the pictures. I was like, girl, do I need to move to Pennsylvania? Like,
I don't know. She makes it look good.
We know a good realtor there. We know a good realtor there.
Yeah.
Leydi, one of the things that I see in your Instagram bio that I think we really need to touch on, because I feel like this sometimes when it comes to like organization or like organizers, but in your bio, it says non-judgmental and empathetic. And I'm like, oh, that's so wonderful, because like to invite an organizer into your home makes me feel very vulnerable. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to clean and organize before the organizer comes over. You know, like you clean before the
cleaning lady comes. Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And it took me, I mean, my bio has changed like so many times from the moment I started my business. And this is the one that I kind of settled on recently, and I feel like it matches me the most. And I just pretty much took it from my clients' testimonials. Like, I'm not over here saying, I'm non-judgmental and empathetic, like who talks like that? But it just kept coming up from my clients working together. Like, you make me feel really comfortable. I feel like you see me however I am, and it's all trying to help. So I was like, I gotta put that in there because that's kind of like my calling card. And I want people to know that on Instagram, I show my house is like really organized. I show my clients' homes that are really organized after I'm done. But there's a lot behind the scenes that we don't see. And when you're letting someone into your home, into your space, into places that we don't show strangers, that is hard work. Like, that is the hardest part, honestly. Yeah. It's just to say, hey, come in and see. Yeah. Come in and see what I'm hiding behind the door, So I don't judge. Like, people's like, oh my God, it's so bad. I'm sorry. I'm like, girl, please. I have seen,
why I'm here.
And men and women, I call girl to everybody, by the way. So like, you can be a man, I'm like, girl.
It's okay. We only have four male listeners, maybe. So,
so it's fine. Like, I have seen everything. Whatever you think I've seen worse. It's just being able to really connect with people. Like I say all the time, I'm really good at organizing. I can organize the hell out of a fucking room.
You're okay. Explicitly rated on all places you get your podcast.
But what I'm really good at is to really be like, what are you really saying here? Like what is coming up here? I have cried with clients. I've had to be like, okay, let's take a break. I think, like, are you comfortable if I give you a hug? Is that okay? I think we need to pause and really realize what's happening here. And I think that's so important in this work because this shit is hard, like living, mothering, work, it's just too much, and I talk about this all the time on my Instagram that modern parenting, modern motherhood is not made for anyone to make it. It is just impossible. So yeah, it's just like my little calling card, like, yeah, I got you, girl. I see you.
I want to talk about how you said your bio has grown, and like I'm willing to bet, and maybe you'll show us behind the curtain, but your entrepreneurship has grown with it. Do you want to talk a little bit about like who you were in the beginning and who you are today and how that's changed as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, this is definitely something imposter syndrome. That's like the buzzword. You hear it all the time. Like, how many times have you had somebody on this podcast say imposter syndrome? It's just like a thing, a buzzword. And I truly felt that. I still feel that because let's face it, organizing is a very, white woman dominated field where like you see the ladies in the home edit and everything is like, yeah, so perfect and in this little box. Sometimes people expect people who are like me. I'm from the Dominican Republic. I have this accent. I grew up in New York City. I talk like I'm from the Bronx, okay? And I grew up in Queens. A lot of people don't even know where the Bronx is, but it's like one of those places where I was just like, do I belong in this space? So even after having a super successful career, I worked at NYU for 20 years. I was very good at my job. I was like, everybody was like, my boss was like, you're quitting? Like, I know that organizing was going to be great, but don't leave, Yeah. And it was one of those things where I had to really overcome a lot to just like put myself out there. At the beginning, I was really trying to be like everybody else, like what is everybody else doing? Like, let's just show the pretty pictures. Let's just do that. And I was really miserable on Instagram, to be totally honest with you. It was just like, this is awful. And then it wasn't until I started like showing myself, my life, talking how I talk, using my hands, and just this is who you're getting in your house.
Yeah.
That's when I really started to feel more comfortable. And I started attracting more customers,
I love that.
because there's everyone for everybody. And they know like who I see on Instagram, this is who's coming to my house.
Yeah.
So it's cliche, but really just be yourself, be authentic. Don't try to be anyone else, because number one, you're going to be unhappy. You'll be like, why the hell did I fucking quit my job to go clean people's houses? Like, why did I do that? And it's just not worth it. So right now, the bio, the only thing that has not changed from my bio is that Latina, that Dominican flag. It ain't going nowhere, because I am like super proud of like who I am. And I feel like a lot of clients that don't think that they deserve organizing. You're like, oh, I'm an immigrant, or my mom worked 3 jobs and the house is always clean. I want them to know that I've been there. Like, I know what that feels like. Everything else has changed with that.
That's such an interesting and really poignant point, which is not an eloquent way to say that. But I do think that there are a lot of people who don't feel worthy of this quote unquote luxury service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is, while organizing can be that, it also is so impactful. I would imagine so impactful to any person's life, probably particularly those who do not consider themselves a quote unquote luxury client, right? And I think to make it accessible and to make it real is such a smart business move. But also just a really lovely way to kind of open the door to anybody, right? And to make it more accessible, and to really, I think that's so smart, and I want to say kind, but that's not the word that is the right word for this. But listen, I am a white woman who lives in a wealthy city, and to be authentic on my Instagram all the time, and I got this recent reel where I said I lived in Carmel, Indiana, which is like a very wealthy suburb, but I grew up.
I've heard of it.
I grew up with a single mom, with housing insecurity and like first generation college grad, all of those things, right? So I feel like I'm here, but I'm like trying to make it, There's definitely times where like there is those worthiness moments where you're like, or sometimes there's those moments where you're like, is this what I'm supposed to do because I'm here now? Or things like that. But I still feel nervous. I would still feel nervous hiring. Like one of my good friends and colleagues here, Mariah Bear, who's an amazing organizer too. I mean, I love her so much. I would still feel nervous having her in my house. Right? That's a me problem that has nothing to do with her. Right. And I think that is, I can imagine that a lot of people feel that way. And so
many people that I had to build it into so I have like a really robust client management system. Like I invested in my business from the very beginning. I wasn't one of those people, I'm just going to scrape by. And then I was like, if I'm going to quit my job, we're going balls to the walls to this. We're going to do it straight from the beginning. And I set up a whole CRM system, which a lot of people don't do until they have 10 employees, right? I was like, no, we're doing this now. We're going to do this smart. I'm not going to waste 5 years of my life. So one of the things that I built in there was when you get the reminder that I am coming to your house, or when we book the consultation, I said, do not feel the need to clean up for me. And I say it to them on the phone, because we started with the phone call first, like, don't do that, because I can't help you if I can't see what it's really like, because I am not a cleaning lady, right? For all of us that have cleaning ladies, I clean up for my cleaning lady, in the sense it's just like, I want her to clean. I don't want her to be like shuffling things around and things like that, but I'm not that. So if I'm doing your bedroom or your closet and there's always clothes that you throw on the chair, and you pick it up, like, that can help me help you, and that's one of the reasons when I follow up with clients 3 months, 6 months, 8 months later, they're like, it doesn't look as pretty as when you left, but everything is still working.
Yeah.
So really being intentional in all those little connection points with clients, I feel in whatever business you're in, it's really what will set you apart from the competition, right? Because organizing is a very saturated market. You just need a label maker. You don't need any special education. You don't need any special certification. You just need to know what you're doing, and you need to be able to talk to people. But after I've spoken to and mentored a few organizers that early on in their business that have either quit or where's the next client coming from? Like once you kind of organize your friends, right? And you organize on the people that you know, like what's next?
Yeah.
It's everybody can be an organizer, not everyone can be a business owner, right? So you really have to listen to what your clients are saying and really be like, where can I position myself strategically while still being me to make it easy to be successful. Like I am like gobsmacked, and every time I think about it, I want to cry to think about that. I took this chance with my job. Now, I just want to be super transparent. I was in a position to be able to do that, right? My husband has a job that if this flopped, the mortgage is still getting paid, right? So that gave me also a cushion to be like, okay, I can take risks for my business.
Yeah.
I can do that. But even with that, I've been able to meet my goals because I am just like zeroed in. Like, where can I be of the most service to my clients and just like tweak and learn from every client? I have learned something new. Like, and you just keep depositing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this next time. It's a hustle. And you just have to find what is your hustle. Don't be like anybody else. And you will make changes for people's lives and for them and for your business, because this is not a hobby. We're not here for free. I mean, I would honestly organize for free if I was independently wealthy. And I would, because I just love it so much. I would love to be able to, your point earlier, about luxury, to be able to help those people that cannot afford my services. Like people ask me, oh, what is your goal with this? Like that is my dream, to be able to have like some company or some marketer to be like sponsor a person that I can just change their lives to organizing. That I've made it. If I could do that, that would be, oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, you have just said like 40 million things that I have like.
I know, sorry.
Great.
Great things. Great things.
Great things. Amazing things. I want to highlight a couple things that you said, and then I want to tell you about an idea I just had. One, I love that you were like, this is a business, and you said everybody can organize, but not anybody can run a business. And I think that is so true in any career or any entrepreneurial endeavor, right? Cheryl, anybody can sell a house, right? Cheryl and I both do real estate. So anybody can fill in the blanks on the contract, right? But but it takes a real entrepreneur, a real business-minded person to be able to like turn this into a business. And that idea of like how to market yourself and where's the next client coming from is like such a real concept that I think every entrepreneur, business owner from the start thinks about, right? And it can feel so like, what is that term? Like
daunting?
Well, it's like hand to mouth.
Terrifying?
Hand to fist to mouth or something. I don't know what that term is, but where it's like one to the next.
Right. You're like desperate, like to put it in simple terms, you're desperate, and you make desperate decisions when you're like looking for the next client. You're like, you will lower your prices. You will organize for clients that don't meet your values. You will do so many things. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's so smart. I love that so many reasons why I can see Susie adores you. But listen, you talked about your CRM, and I'm just like, wow, you're really speaking everybody's language here.
For those that don't know, I think CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management System.
Yeah.
Basically, it's how you organize your contacts and your vendors and anybody that you need to connect with.
Yeah, it's your
I'm
data.
sure
Right.
everybody
And
knows,
all
but
those repetitive tasks that you do for every project are just automated, right? So you're not spending time booking or you're not letting leads fall through the cracks, right? Again, someone's reaching out to you when they're the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like you can't they're already not feeling seen, right?
Yeah.
So it was just a smart business decision, a big investment. You know, when I would talk, they're like, wow, yeah, I did. I spent my profits on that. Yes, I did,
Yeah.
because
That's
we're in the long game here, you know, and I think I have recouped my investment twice over.
you can't build
So
a house without a strong foundation. And
exactly.
that is the same for building a business. You need a strong
Mhm.
foundation. I think that's one thing I really did differently in my business, probably than most agents that start out, is I immediately ran my business like a business.
yeah.
I like
Same.
jumped in both feet, organized systems, just ran it like I ran my other business for 12 years. Why wouldn't you?
Right.
This was never a hobby.
Right.
There's things like people I hear today who are small business owners and they like don't have basic things set up like like a business bank account. And I'm
Or a
like,
credit card.
my
Yeah.
brain is, what, it just goes into your personal account? Like, how do you do that? Like, but
Yeah.
but that's things some people just don't know. And some of that is just from not knowing or being scared or whatever.
Yeah, and I think as for women entrepreneurs, especially, you know, that I think there's like a barrier. Like, men, I'm gonna talk about my husband. I'm gonna talk about all men. But my husband, for example, he works in finance. He's very good with numbers. He can just like do he's very confident. I'm like, okay, sure, that's what we're gonna do. For me, I was like, oh, is this okay? Am I doing the right thing? I'm glad that I am married to him, and he's a nice guy, and he's like my little.
I hope so.
He gave me two beautiful kids. He kind of is like my how do you say that, consigliere, like the
Yes.
Godfather? You know? Yeah. He's like that guy.
Yes.
Where I'm like, so financially, talk to me about this. Like, does that make sense? You know, so I run a lot of ideas through him, and you kind of have to really push past those fears. Get that business credit card. Get that loan, honestly. Sometimes just like, oh, I don't want to get a business loan or whatever. Hire the accountant, hire the bookkeeper. It's an investment, but you're going to recoup that investment, you know? And you just have to run the numbers. I know so many people that run businesses that have no idea how much money they made in a month. Like, none.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't get it. I have no words.
Numbers are like money.
You've got this girl speechless.
Yeah, money
Which is hard to do.
Front, right? Like, it's a hard thing for people to really, for business owners or small business, and even just people. It's a hard
Right.
thing to really look at. And for some people, that's scary. And some people, they're like, I'd rather not know. Seems like everything's going okay. But you can't run a business that way. Like, you can't.
Not a successful one.
Not a success.
Not one that's going to grow and scale and have long-term success.
Yeah.
It's just like clutter. It's just like once you put something in the closet that you don't see because you don't want to deal with it, but it's still there. Somebody's gonna have to deal with this, whether it's you, whether it's when, God forbid, you die. Somebody is gonna deal with that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So just pull the Band-Aid and just let's do the thing, you know?
I have an idea for you about
I write it down.
about your wanting to do almost like creating a nonprofit. I wonder if you could, for each client, charge a little bit more, but that percentage goes towards a nonprofit fund or goes towards a fund where then you could do like once a year or once a quarter, you could offer like on Instagram or something, you could offer like a service to somebody in need for free.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely so. I have two ideas about that. So, but the nonprofit, thank you. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So, I do volunteer my time and services to causes that are like important to me. So, for example, in my kids' school, there's this whole issue with the storage thing that went awry. So, I was like, okay, I am going to volunteer my time and my expertise to really make this work for the long term. I give 3 hours of organizing to fundraisers and things like that. Again, smart business decision. I always get a client.
Yep.
It's not.
No way.
It is.
Or whatever.
I always get a client from it. So if you're on the fence as a business owner about giving a few hours of your time for a fundraiser, do it. It will pay back. So I was thinking I could do something like at the holidays at the end of the year where I just donate my time and work with brands to get like the product to kind of help these people, because that honestly would just make me the happiest person in the whole entire world, because there's so many people that need this work. Mm-hmm. So many moms that are just so overwhelmed, that are just like, I don't know what the fuck I am going to do with this craziness that is my life, but I need help and I just can't afford someone like that. Yeah. So that HGTV, whatever, if you're listening.
Yes. Oh my God.
Please, first of all, please sponsor our podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. These girls are fun.
Let's get, some kind of sponsorship.
Speak it into existence.
Somebody listening is going to know somebody who.
Somebody told me, she was a client, that's how I met her. She was a client and she's become like a business bestie. She's also an entrepreneur. So she is a social work entrepreneur. She helps people that are social workers looking for other careers or ways to kind of do things. She's like a speaker. She like teaches at a college. And she said to me, you should start a YouTube channel. Why do you have to wait for HGTV to come? Yeah. Just do it. And I'm like, girl, hello. Yes. You should be doing but, that's work, so it's online. I have this business wish list. I don't know if you guys do that, where like I write things that I just don't have the capacity on right now, because I have so many ideas and I will chase them all. And we all know in business that half of them are fucking duds. Half of them are not going to work. But we don't know that, right? When we're like so excited about, I could do that. So I've started just having like this little parking lot of these big wish things that I want to do in my business, with the hope that when I have some more brain capacity and bigger staff, more resources, I can, because then I'll forget them, go back to the things that just kind of like light me up. That's on there. Like the YouTube thing is on there. And then I was talking to another follower of mine who's a teacher on Instagram. She was like, oh my God, you'll be so proud of me. I helped another teacher with her supply closet. And I was like, oh my God, I just got an idea. Next year, I am going to do a giveaway for a local teacher to organize her classroom. Because that would give me joy. Because as a little kid, I thought I wanted to be a teacher, not to teach kids, to do the room. Like to put the color code and to.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm going to do it because that would give me joy and I can help a teacher.
I'll fly you out to LA to help my mother-in-law, who is in her 70s and still a first grade teacher. And like every year she like puts my niece now, my 12-year-old niece is like helping her put the classroom together. And I'm like, oh my God.
You like open in half, right? You see teachers doing that.
Yeah. And I'm just like, she needs help. Like, like she needs some help with this. This is.
Yeah. And the labels. Oh my God. I'm going to do it next summer, by the way. So it's happening. That one is happening for sure.
Amazing.
What has been your biggest hurdle to overcome as a business owner?
It's just like believing in myself, honestly. Mm-hmm. It's something that I talk about. I go to therapy once a week. I also talk about this on Instagram all the time. I'm very open about my therapy journey. My father was like a low-key hoarder, which is one of the reasons why I am the way that I am. It's really that belief in myself, that kindness towards myself, because I have lots of friends and they will all say, Leydi is like the biggest cheerleader. Like you can call me and I will be like, girl, stop the bullshit. You got this. You can do it. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like I am that girl. I am that girl's girl. Like we're fighting with somebody. We're fighting like sick demons off. But I find that really hard to do for myself. Like very extremely difficult to. And one of the things that my therapist has said to me is talk to yourself like you would talk to your friend. Yeah. And that is the hardest. So like when I feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing this, and I could be doing that. Look at all these people. Look what they're doing. And
yeah,
that is hard. It is a struggle. I can't say that I've completely overcome it. I think that is 100% gotten better. Like I have now, like a year full time in, I know that I'm that girl, you know? I got the goods.
When you're ambitious and when you're really striving for big goals, it is challenging to not play the comparison game. And we talk about, comparison is the thief of joy. But I think by just when you're trying to achieve something that somebody's already achieved or somebody's already there, it's hard. It's such a mind fuck to be like that. And I'm constantly like this. I'm like, that person is great. Love that whoever that person is. I'm sure they're great, but they're not any better than me. They're not any smarter than me.
Mm-hmm.
How are they there and I'm not yet? Like, I think that is a real continual challenge that we have to just remember. I think, Cheryl, we were talking about the other day, I was talking about the scarcity thing about, Cheryl said to me, I have a partner on every deal. And I was like, oh man, I want a partner on every deal, but but then I have to give them part of my commission. And that is scary to me. Right. But the point is if I do that, that frees me up to do a lot more, or it frees me a lot of mental space. But it is that that constant work on your mindset, constant work on yourself to just kind of get you there. And I think that is just, again, when you're super ambitious, when you're super driven, when you have all these goals, plus the parking lot full of ideas, which Cheryl and I are always talking. You should see Cheryl and I's parking lot. We got a bunch of semis in there. It's just full of stuff.
There's a few jets also.
Yeah. Semis, all of it. It can be, a constant game of resilience too, right? Just picking yourself back up and keep going and not I don't want to say not comparing, because you are comparing, but making sure that you're still feeling
human. You cannot not compare.
Yeah. And some of that pushes you, right? Oh, that person's doing that. So then maybe that gives me some validation that it can be done or that I can do it. But it is a real game in persistence.
Absolutely. It's a long game. You really have to just keep pushing. And you got to keep pushing, but you also have to know when you need to pivot. You know what I mean? That I think is also hard, when it's just it's just not working. And how you know that is through data, you know what I mean? So sometimes I see, I'm part of these mastermind groups, or I'm part of entrepreneur groups or other businesses, and you get to talk to people. It's just and I'm thinking to myself, girl, you need to get a job. I'm thinking to myself, because you're just not making any money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those things where unless you don't have the data to back up, it's just too hard to make a change. You know what I mean? So that's also really important. It's just you have to really push, hustle, really lean into what you're really good at. And the stuff that you're not good at, just hire somebody to do it for you. Just, at the beginning of your business, you need to bootstrap it. You really need to. You can't spend money you don't have. But are you really going to be spending time doing things by hand when you can spend that time talking to clients, networking, putting yourself out there? So it's hard. I'm telling you, everybody on Instagram, they're like, oh, you could just be an entrepreneur. It is. I work now more than ever.
Yeah.
When I worked for you, I used to be able to be goodbye, I'm leaving. See you on Monday. And you just can't turn it off. It really does take a certain amount of delusion.
Oh, yeah.
To be I can do this.
It's look at all this time freedom I have as a business owner. And then meanwhile, during my massage yesterday, I'm taking phone calls and emailing about offer deadline in the midst of my massage. I'm excuse me, sorry, I have to take this. Hello? Sorry, my face is down in a pillow right now.
Absolutely.
Look at the time freedom I have, you guys.
That's such and maybe I'm twisted, but I think that is honestly some of the best parts of being an entrepreneur. Because if you were in a 9-to-5, you wouldn't be in that massage chair. Right? You wouldn't be there. I really think there is a perspective there. And I talk about this a lot on my Instagram, is I'm in the car writing the offer on the way to the lake. And previously I worked in athletics and I worked in education. And those were jobs where you had to be at a specific place in order to do your job. And this is an opportunity for me to work wherever, for the most part. If I have to take someone to a house, they have to see that house, right? But like the flexibility, quote unquote flexibility, but I think we, as entrepreneurs, we work a billion hours a day, but we get to choose when, for the most part, when those hours, and where those hours are. And I think there is a mind shift there for some people. Like I have a friend who was like, I want to just be able to go on vacation and not work. And I was like, I like that idea for you, but I'm going on vacation and I have to take a call, but I can still be in Paris and like from the Versailles train station be like, hey, your offer got accepted. I love that. Like that for me.
I mean, part of that trip is a business expense at that point.
Yeah, write it off. We just booked our call. We just booked our call.
Please consult your tax accountant. None of us are CPAs.
Yeah, do not listen to these ladies, crazy ladies on this podcast.
Dad, poor dad. He says, book a trip and then have a business meeting. That's what he says. But anyway, yeah. So I think that's a perspective viewpoint, and not everybody has that. Not everybody wants to have that, and there are people who want to shut down. But I think when you're in a similar position to the three of us, where you're growing your business and you're doing and you have goals that you're wanting to achieve, this is a way to look at it. It's that I get to, not I have to idea. Absolutely. And I'm working on setting some boundaries because I just came out of some deals that were like all consuming, and Cheryl was like, are you okay? And I was like, no. But like the other day I called this agent, he didn't answer. It was 2:45. I was in the pickup line and I was like, I'm not going to be available between 3 and 5. So if you want to call me after 5, I'll answer. If not,
boundary.
And it felt really good. And then he called me at 3:30 and I was like, okay, I'm in the pickup line, but I haven't picked up the kids yet. So I'll just answer. But what I said to him was, I'm in the pickup line, so I only have a few minutes. So let's get to it. And he was like, oh, okay. And we just kind of hammered it out. Right. And it was done. And then my kids got in the car and I said, okay, I have to go. And he was like, okay, bye. And it was really interesting. And I don't usually set those boundaries. I usually am like, shh, kids, get in the car. Like I'm on the phone. But it was really nice. Nice is such a dumb word, but it felt like huge relief to be able to say those things and to set those boundaries, but also be able to set those boundaries for myself, because not everybody can do that.
Good for you. Oh, that's awesome. It's just really about finding what works for you. It's just back to organizing. It's just like what works for you. Yeah. Because people will see these like pictures on Instagram, like, oh, I want so many clients, like, oh, I want that. And then I want to do toy rotation, for example, which is very popular. I hate toy rotation. That is so time consuming. And who has time for that? Like even my stay-at-home moms that do toy rotation don't have time for this. Like let alone you with a job, 2 kids, a husband, like, and they're like, bring you joy.
No.
Like it's not sustainable. Like this doesn't work for your life, So let's talk about that. I mean, and then I always give them the options. Like at the end of the day, this is your house. If you want it, I will give that to you. Yeah. But am I really helping you if I don't like push you a little bit to really see like, is it sustainable for your life?
It sounds awful.
It's awful.
I do that. Luckily,
it's an Instagram made up thing. Yeah, it's not real.
And people do this because I live in, and you do too. But like you live in a place with seasons. People will do clothing seasonal rotations where they literally put their summer clothes in a bin and then
that too.
Pull their winter clothes out. And I'm like, what?
Hate that too.
I don't have time for that. Also, how do you know what you
have? If I want that sweater? What if it's there's like a random chilly day?
Yeah. And then you forget it's there and then you buy. Listen, the only time that I will do a clothes rotation happily, it's if you live in a tiny Manhattan apartment, which a lot of people do. And like it is a shoebox and we have to make it work. But if you live in the suburbs and you have like a walk-in closet, like we should not be talking about clothes rotation. We should be talking about where are all these clothes coming from?
Yeah.
and we will. Like when you work with me, I will get like deep. I want to know if you're left-handed or right-handed. Like we get that detailed. Like if I am organizing a kitchen for you, I'm like, what do you cook? Are you right-handed, left-handed? Like it's all about efficiency. And that was what I was known for in higher ed, like really making processes for students, faculty, and anyone that came in contact with our department was like, there was no thinking. Everybody knew where it was. There was no like no red tape, which is like higher education is known for like bureaucracy and red tape.
Yeah.
And I hate that. So it was just like, you come to the office, you already know. Everything's clear. And that's my approach to organizing. Let's cut the shit. What is really going on here? Let's make it as simple. I don't want you to think about anything. Yeah. I want you when you're getting dressed, you already know what you're going to wear. You already know what's going to make for dinner. When you go to the grocery store, you already know what you have to buy. Nobody has time. We're all too busy to be stressed in our own homes where we're supposed to be happy and bed rot and couch rot and and yell at our kids and like live a life.
What other skills do you feel like were transferable from your previous career to your new? Because I think that I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm new to real estate, or I'm new to this business that I'm doing. And even stay-at-home moms, I've seen stay-at-home moms on the Facebook groups that I'm in being like, I don't have any skills for the workplace. I'm like, the fuck you don't. You are a CEO. You are a project manager. You are all the things in that role.
Negotiator.
Yeah, those skills are transferable. And we need to remember that just because maybe we haven't done this one thing doesn't mean we can't bring value to that thing, because we have such valuable insights from something previous. So do you have any other skills that you felt like transferred really well from the 20 years in higher ed over to your current business?
Well, and some of those 20 years I spent it working in student affairs specifically, which is student affairs is kind of like Rest Live, dorms. So my husband, when I first got married, my husband and I lived in the dorms with freshmen for like 3 years. So my neighbors were like, hey, can I borrow your scale? I'm like, no, you cannot. Goodbye. I am not working right now. So some of that time I was like an expert in conflict management. So I was a trained mediator. Like I have like certificates in mediation through the New York Peace Institute, which I haven't mediated since I moved to New Jersey, but I used to help people in conflict, like child-parent conflict, roommate conflict, neighbor conflict. I never did any divorces because I was not interested. But really helping people come to the middle, and like talk to people. That was what I was really good at. I was just like, let's take a step back. Let's see the big picture. You're getting really anxious right now. Let's see what's going on here. And it's very helpful, especially when like partners, husbands and wives have different ideas about what needs to happen. A couple of my clients have called me like a marriage therapist. I'm like, okay, great. And I really feel one of the biggest skills throughout my whole life, even since I was a child, I am just really curious. I just want to know. I just want to know, like anything. So when I meet a new client, I was like, I want to know everything about you. Tell me about your husband. Tell me about your kids. Tell me whatever you think I should know, because you are a full person. And I am just so interested to know who you are, whatever that is. And I just want to know. And I love to fix problems. I love puzzles, by the way. I love to like put things into like little boxes and put a bow on it and give it to you. Like, here you go. This is for you. Do you love it? Tell me you love it. Because I also struggle with that. That's why I go to therapy. Like, tell me you love it. Tell me you love it. I'm a people pleaser. Yeah, like I could just really talk to people. Anyone. Like my husband is just like, why are we at the store and the person behind you is always talking to you? I'm like, they're just telling me their life story. Like, he's like, yeah, because you're constantly smiling. Like, stop smiling. I'm like, stop being such a girl. I just like to smile. That's my default face. So, yeah, people have ever told you like the deepest, darkest secret, like on the subway? That has happened to me.
Yeah,
so many times.
Yes, I have more than once been like, why am I so approachable?
Yeah.
Why does this happen to me?
But okay.
I normally like it, but occasionally I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's because you're curious. It's because you are open.
Yeah.
You're an open person.
Yeah, I'll also tell everybody TMI as well. Like, you want to hear about my life story?
It's a double-edged sword. You can't take without giving. So I will take everything you're giving me, but oh wait, I got some stories for you. Hold on.
Buckle up. When you are interested in people, not many people in this world are interested in other people. And so when somebody finds somebody like you, Leydi, they're like, oh my God, somebody's interested in me. Oh, I'm going to talk to them. Right? Because most people are like, bye, F you, get out of my way, move it up in the line, keep it going. You know, the light is red. But when you find somebody else who is like interested in you, it does make you feel important, and it does make you feel special, and it does make you feel like, oh, I'm going to talk to this person in the grocery line, even, you know, whatever. And I think that is such an attribute that you obviously carry in your business that like makes you successful in what you're doing, right? And makes people feel comfortable and say those things to you, you know, like what we said in the beginning about being non-judgmental or being empathetic. Because you're interested in them, they feel very comfortable letting you in. And that, I mean, I can see that now in talking to you for the last 40 minutes. And that's such an amazing attribute. So don't let your husband tell you not to smile at everybody. You do whatever you want.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything.
Okay,
the only right thing to
I have
do is
a
marry me.
couple rapid fire questions for you.
Oh yeah,
and
this is our new segment, everybody.
How to connect with you.
Yeah, this is our new segment.
I'm scared.
This is our new segment.
I know, our new segment, rapid fire. So what is one tool or app you can't run your business without?
Google.
Same girl. Feel that. And what is one book or resource that has had a profound impact on your leadership or entrepreneurial style?
Oh my God, there's so many. Okay, hold on. Okay. I love Atomic Habits. That book about making things together. Like if you're already brushing your teeth, take your vitamins. I feel like we take so much time to try to fit a round peg in a square hole. So just make it easy. Keep it simple.
Love that.
That's a good one.
What on the topic of habits, what's one daily habit that contributes to your success?
This is so corny.
I love it. Do it. Shoot.
Say it.
I just love to hug and kiss my kids.
Oh,
I know, I'm sorry. I had to do it. It just gives me such a happiness boost. Like the day could be the shittiest, and I just smell that they're 5 and 10. So the 10-year-old is okay. Don't touch me. Like leave me alone. The 5-year-old is more like he lets me like smell him and cuddle, and it just.
I love
it really.
That's the best.
I try to do that every single day. Yeah.
That's way better than like I make my bed.
I know. Every day by making my bed. What is the best piece of advice that you've received?
For business?
Well, anything. Shoot, anything. We're here for the whole woman.
Yeah.
Okay. For anything is, if you worry about being a good mom, you're already a good mom.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Amazing. Okay, Leydi, you've been so fun. How can people connect with you, and what does it look like to work with you?
You can find me on Instagram, theorganizedleydi, Leydi, because I'm Dominican and there's a Y in everybody's Dominican's name.
Maybe I'm Dominican. There's a Y in my name.
You know, I can tell that you like some plátanos, which is plantains. So you can find me there on stories. I share all the unhinged or behind the scenes. And you can work with me if you're in the New Jersey, New York City area. I do in-person organizing services, but I just started doing some mindset coaching, organizing coaching. Wherever you are in your journey about organizing, you can book me for a call, and you can just find that on my website, theorganizedleydi.com. And I would love to see you listener, for who you really are and how I can best serve you. With a little fun, added to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody go and follow Leydi. We'll put it in the show notes as well and on Instagram, but everybody go follow. You're going to love her. And if you're not watching, she's got the best headband on in the whole wide world, and it's sparkly, and I love
Pauline
it.
has such headband envy today, you guys.
I'm going to go find it today. I'm like, what am I even doing with my life?
I'll send you the link.
Yes, send me the link, for real.
Link in bio.
Link in bio. Follow my LTK.
Love it.
Amazing. Leydi, thank you so much for being here. It's been so fun.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's a wrap. Thank you for joining us on this journey of laughter, life, and growth.